Hello. I want to discuss something I feel most people watching this can probably relate to. I think it's so pertinent in our lives, it's so common in our lives that it's worth a little bit of commentary. It's not actually, or it shouldn't actually be, an important thing in itself, but because it is so prevalent, I think it deserves a bit of commentary. What I'm specifically talking about here is what I would describe as everyday awkwardness. Everyday awkwardness. So, what do I mean by that? I think most of us have been in a situation where we have felt a bit awkward for one reason or another in terms of communication with other people. Maybe it is a joke that fell a bit flat. Maybe it is misunderstanding someone and asking them a few times over what they meant, or them asking you a few times over what you meant. Um, Maybe it's when you say something intended to be humorous, but it was a bit inappropriate and you didn't intend it that way, etc. I think if we're being honest with ourselves, we've all been there at least once. We've either brought about the awkwardness, or someone else, the way they have responded, has brought about the awkwardness. Let me just give a recent example, right? So I was leaving an event where I was working at, and I'd sort of got to know my fellow employees, let's say, a little bit. This was a temporary job; it wasn't like a long-term fixture. And I had actually been—I wouldn't say training someone else; that's the wrong term. But because I'd had some experience of the job, I'd been just making her feel at ease. There was a few things she wasn't sure about, so I was making her feel at ease. Anyway, she had a little bit of an accent. She's not from the UK, so when she was leaving, I think she said goodbye. But basically, I missed it. I didn't hear. So it was just an honest mistake. Now, another person in the group actually tried to shame me and another guy, like, "Oh, you didn't say goodbye. How rude!" And I was like, "Whoa, what's going on here?" Because what actually happened was I didn't hear the person. She was going in the other direction. I just assumed she was walking in the same direction as us, and she had said goodbye, but I genuinely didn't hear her. So maybe my hearing's going. I don't know. But the point is, I didn't hear her. And this person kind of, and I kind of nervously laughed and, well, okay. I didn't know. But at the time, I'm thinking, well, what right do you have to put me on the spot like that? It was an honest mistake. I wasn't deliberately being rude. Um, so that's the sort of situation. It's just an example, but it is the sort of situation that I feel can happen often. I've been in this situation too. I'm not a joker by nature. Um, some people are good at that. I'm not particularly. Um, I suppose a lot of people would consider me to be a serious person. So on the rare occasion I do kind of try to bring humor into something, I find it doesn't really resonate with people. I don't think it's that people don't find me funny, because I have people have laughed at things I've said, but it's more that they don't maybe expect it from me, or maybe I don't know. And I feel I've got a good sense of what's appropriate and what's not, so I'm not sure if that's the issue. Um, but basically, I think what all this comes down to is learning to let things pass. This is so very important, because in the grand scheme of things, none of it really matters. So we may feel awkward for a few minutes, maybe even a bit longer. And over time, if it happens a lot, it can sap our confidence. But you have to remember, everybody at some point has been in that sort of situation. It's also about how we treat other people. Um, I find that some people make it very obvious that they're trying to make the other person feel awkward by trying to make, like, oh, what did they just say, kind of thing. I don't like that. I think it's a little bit smug. If I don't understand what someone means, I'll just ask them. I won't kind of give them a funny look. And I think some people, body language is a very important thing. Um, but Things can also be misunderstood. So that girl who kind of put me on the spot, maybe that wasn't her intention. Maybe she was kind of half joking, like, "Oh, you should say goodbye." So it's incredible how easily we can potentially be misunderstood and how we can misunderstand other people. And we need to remember that we don't all have well, none of us have the capacity to absolutely work out what another person is thinking all the time. We just can't do that. So no matter how assertive you are, I don't think anyone could do that all the time. So what comes down to, I think, is just giving ourselves a break and thinking, okay, well, that was a little bit awkward, but it really doesn't matter. It's not my problem. I'm not being malicious. I'm not trying to hurt someone. I'm not trying to be inappropriate. And if someone else is making a big issue out of it, that's their problem. I do think that's how we need to view life. Um, and I think if we don't, it would only sap our confidence to the point where you're frightened to even communicate. And that then leads to anxiety issues and all sorts of things. And it's really not worth it. It's not worth giving it that importance. So these little awkward things, I'm not talking about big heated arguments. I'm talking about little misunderstandings, little, things that are just misunderstood. They happen. I just grimaced there because I got a little bit. You probably can't see it in the camera, but I've got a little bit of a sore on my face. Yeah, so I think that's what people need to take away is just it's not important. And if other people are making you feel like you're an idiot, like, they look at you in a certain way, it's not easy, but you have to remember that's their problem. I have a feeling that people who try to shift attention onto someone else by, trying to set them up as a fool or something, in all likelihood, they're trying to deflect attention from some insecurity they have. I strongly believe that. So someone who's always cracking jokes at someone else's expense, someone who's always trying to make someone else feel guilty, the chances are they're doing it because they themselves are insecure about something. In which case, it is irritating, but you have to remember it's their problem. You've done nothing wrong, it is their problem. Anyway, those are a few things to think about. Let me know your thoughts.